Hey guys, today I want to share with you a crazy story about a musician that a lot of you may know. I thought long and hard about sharing this story with you because it's a doozy. It all started back in the early 2000s. I think we were in Belgium or maybe. We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast to bring you breaking news from Germany. Here at Armstrong News Network, we have received word that Oktoberfest 2020 has in fact been canceled for this year in fears that it could be a, quote, breeding ground for the coronavirus. The 210-year-old festival, which attracts more than 6 million visitors a year, is a major event here in Germany for both Bavarians and tourists alike. The mayor of Munich has called this a, quote, bitter pill, and said that it would be a heavy financial blow for all businesses that normally would participate in this event. He added that one, however, cannot make any other decision than this. Oktoberfest last year boasted a revenue of a little over 1 billion euros. For more on this, we go to our official beer correspondent, Armstrong. Yes, thank you, Armstrong. All is quiet right now on the Bavarian front, as many are mourning the loss of their beloved beer fest. Dieter Reiter, Munich's Lord Mayor, has called this a, quote, sad day. However, he mentioned he has hopes that in 2021 we will once again celebrate Oktoberfest. But until then, he asks for the public's support, as due to the current pandemic situation, there was no other solution. Back to you, Armstrong. Thank you, Armstrong. I see. However, I'm curious, in light of the recent protests that we had seen in America, are there right now any signs there of the Bavarians going out into the street to protest this and therefore possibly risk spreading this virus more? No, no signs here of outrage and protest in the streets. Generally, the German public seems to be well educated and aware of the dangers of the current pandemic situation, and for the most part, respecting the science behind this unfortunate decision. Back to you, Armstrong. Interesting. But are there any people holding signs that say things like Jesus or hellfire, waving Nazi flags or Confederate flags? Or any of the racist, homophobic, generally Christian extremist signs that we saw at those recent protests in America? Any sign of that here? What? No. Why? I don't know what any of that has to do with the current pandemic situation, and I would just have to assume that the general German person doesn't either. As I stated, most are following the regulated quarantine measures being taken, and the Nazi flag is illegal here for obvious reasons. Back to you, Armstrong. Are there loud screams and demands for freedom? No. But what about demands for things like haircuts and manicures? And what is with that delicious traditional Oktoberfest beer? Surely riots are coming. No demand for haircuts and manicures here, Armstrong. And in regards to that delicious Oktoberfest beer, well, that can be purchased just like every year in all of the supermarkets. So your average German can still enjoy that tasty treat in the comfort of their own home. I would suspect the decent education system here, the good health care, and general overall social safety net available to the average German makes the situations in America and Germany not really comparable. Your average German is, I would have to say, in a better situation than those Americans you speak of. Armstrong? Well, sure, but drinking the beer at home is not really the same as being at Oktoberfest. Now, is it, Armstrong? Well, sure, Armstrong, but I think the average German understands that in the middle of a pandemic, nothing is the same right now. However, as the official beer correspondent here at Armstrong News Network, I'd be glad to give you a few tips to bring that real Oktoberfest feel into your own home. Now, as I already mentioned, that tasty Oktoberfest beer with that high percentage of alcohol that we all love is available in supermarkets at the same time that it is every year. So you can just go pick up yourself a case of that. Don't forget to pick up some sausage and soft pretzels to have those tasty traditional Oktoberfest treats. Through the convenience of the internet, from the comfort of your own home, you can order yourself some traditional Bavarian clothing to put on your own personal Oktoberfest day. If you fear you may not fill it out like a Bavarian girl, well, let me give you a tip that a Bavarian girl in Munich once gave me. Just use some socks. And if all of that doesn't give you the complete Oktoberfest feel, well, just use the man of the house or perhaps the pet to gently urinate, maybe vomit in various corners of your home to give it that background scent, that atmosphere that one does experience at this fest. Back to you, Armstrong. That is all very interesting stuff. Great reporting, Armstrong. Thank you for that. We now return you to your regularly scheduled broadcasting. I just look back at it. Those were crazy times. There was lots of alcohol involved. It all just seems so surreal. But yeah, that's the story of the time the guitarist punched me in the head. I appreciate you all watching. Don't forget to click like. And if you're new here, I appreciate if you subscribe. Until we meet again, y'all take care of yourself.